Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Kube.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine.
All right.
Good morning, man.
We have four students online, and let's wait for a minute or two.
Yeah.
We can proceed. Today, I plan to maybe we'll do an hour lectures or 90 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Uh, I hope you people you are accessing the online videos from YouTube.
But the last week lectures, did you post them?
Not yet. That's what I'm trying to do. I will do. So after this, I will combine it with this and post it. I have not
Okay.
done it, but once I do it, I will let you guys know through our
Okay.
WhatsApp page.
Yeah. We will be waiting there.
I hope they are useful.
Yeah. Sure. Very sure.
So before we have more people, let me just write what we will cover. Maybe we will do an hour lecture or 1 hour 30 minutes. Then we will call it a day. So we are still with the functions. Uh, uh, we have looked at different types of functions in business world and in economics. So first today we will look at two examples. One of them we have started it already. So we will start with examples.
Device is ready to pair.
Then from there we will look at composite function. So we have these materials already with you. So this is what we will cover within an hour or 1 hour 30 minutes. And from there we will call it a day. Let me see. We have 6 students. Still small. But anyway, we are going to go on so they can get the video later. Lecturing online is very tedious. What you're supposed to, you can't cover a lot of things because there is so much going on behind the scene. So the little time we have, we can't waste. So let's look at two examples, then look at composite function, then we move on. So let's look at example one. You have this in your book, by the way. Just I add one or few things to it. The graph is not there, which I think is important. We see the visualization. So we have example one, and in this example, we are given two function. We have px. You know what this example is telling us. This px it represents not the profit function, but what the price of uh, coffee maker. So the price of coffee maker is estimated maybe by an econometrician. We have price of coffee maker. So it's a machine. So the price, so we have minus, we have started this example, but we couldn't finish the last class. So we are continuing with it. Plus 51. This is the price. Then beneath it, then we have the cost. the cost of producing this coffee maker is given to us by this. That is the total cost. So this C of X is the total cost of producing coffee maker. So it's given to us as 2.23 x square plus 3.5 x plus 85. So in this example, so what we are looking at here, the x, it's nothing but what is the quantity. So QTY in short, quantity of coffee maker produce. So in the question, if you look at the material that I gave to you, you will have this question. Is I think example 1.1.5. So this is given to us in the question. That is the price of the coffee. It's represented by this equation. In the question also, the total cost of producing coffee maker also is given to us. So this is given to us and this is given to us. But before we go on and to write the questions, let's look at these two functions. Here is a price function. So if you looked at this very well, it's nothing but what? Demand function. We talked about this last class, demand function. So we said that demand function is just a relationship between what? The price and the quantity. So quantity here is represented by X. So this quantity is nothing but what? Coffee maker. So if you look at the relationship between this and this one, that is the price. This is the price. And this is what? The quantity of coffee maker is what? Is negative relationship. How do you know it? Is this? So meaning that the graph will slope downward. So this first one is nothing but a relationship. Anytime you see a price, which is this, and a quantity demanded, or quantity demanded in a function, just know that it's talking about either demand function or supply function. But in case that there's a minus here, obviously you should know it. It's a demand function. Equally, this equation, it can be stated like this: P of X equals to 51 minus, it's the same thing, minus 0.27x. So this is nothing but what? Demand function. So we have a demand function here, then we have what? Cost function here. Even though it's priced equals to this. So it's nothing but a demand function because it's showing what? Relationship between price, which is this, and then quantity demanded. So after we have these two functions, then let's look at the questions that we are tasked to answer. So the first question, let's say question 1, is asking us one. So it said, what is Rx? And we know Rx, it represents what? The revenue function. And the Px, which is in this case profit function. And then Ax, in this case is what? Is the average cost function. So AC is average cost function. So we are tasked to drive this, drive profit function and drive average cost function. So we know formulas to all of this. So first, starting with the revenue function, which is Rx, we know the formula is what? The quantity of coffee maker produced multiplied by what? The price. Obviously, we know the price already. Our price is given to us as this. So we just go on and find this. So all what we need to do is just substitute. So we'll have Rx as X times this function, which is given to us here, this. So we put it in bracket. We will have minus 0.27 x plus 51. So at the end of the day, our Rx will equals to what? X times this term. So you multiply this X outside that bracket with every term that is here. So we only have two terms. So this times this will give us what? Minus 0.27 x raised to the power of 2. X times x is x squared. Then we have plus 51. X times 51 will give 51x. So this will be our profit, our revenue function. So we have done that. So we finish this one. So next we have to calculate our profit function. And we all know that the profit, the formula for profit, this is profit function, not price, please. Is equals to what? Total revenue that we just computed minus cost. So one thing also I think it's important we take note of it when it comes to cost function is this. So it's important we know that this component of the cost function is the variable cost. We talked about it last class. So this component is what? Is the fixed cost. So anytime you see a total cost function, it is important you know which component represent the variable cost and which component represent the fixed cost. So going back to our question to calculate the profit function, we can just say profit, which is a function of. Can we mute our mic? Can we mute? Let's continue with the profit function. Then we know our revenue function, which is what? Minus 0. So we continue with this 27 x raised to the power of 2, then plus 51 x, then minus what? The cost. And we know that the cost is given to us in the question already, which is what? In bracket 2.23 times x raised to the power of 2 plus 3.5 x plus. You cannot be in the classroom and talking to people. You are disturbing the whole class, please. 85. We have this. So at the end of the day, all what we need to do, is to arrange the like terms. So we know that, okay, this one and this one. All right. So let's continue. Please, when we are taking online course classes, you have to let your people know. Once you start classes, you need to be alone. It's important so that the video that will be posted on YouTube will not be, will have only the lecture other than something. Let's just try to go to a place whereby you will not be distracted by other things. All right. So we have this. We collect the like terms. So if you looked at this, this and these are like terms. So another like terms is what? This and this are like terms. So we have one constant here. We have no constant here. So all what you need to do, you collect the like terms. So minus 0.27 x raised to the power of 2 minus 2.23 x raised to the power of 2 will give us what? 2.5 x raised to the power of 2 plus 47. So 51x minus 35x, 51x minus 3.5x will give us 47.x minus 85. So at the end of the day, we have our profit function as well. So this should be minus 2.5x plus 47x minus this. So we have our profit function. So what is left now in the first question is now the average cost. So let's go and calculate the average cost function. So we know that average cost, the formula for it is equals to what? Total cost divided by quantity. So we know our total cost here is what? 2.23 x raised to the power of 2 plus 3.5 x plus 85 all over x. The average cost as the function of quantity of coffee maker produced equals to this. So what we can do here, we can just divide every term by the denominator, which is x, and x here represents what? The quantity of coffee maker produced plus 3.5 x plus 85x. So this x square, what it means is nothing but what? X times x, this x square. So what we will do, we just cancel here, we just cancel here. So here also we cancel this, we cancel this. There is no x in the numerator, so this one will stay. So at the end of the day, our average cost will be what? 2. So let's continue. I don't know, for some reason, the audio went off, but we will continue from where we stopped with our average cost. And so at the end of the day, our average cost, you should also be taking notes. These internets are not stable, so don't just depend on the video. Take notes while we are having the online. Average cost is equals to 2.23 x plus 3.5 plus, you will have time, if you have question you can keep it. So the goal was to leave you guys unmuted, but the noise that was coming was too much. So if you have a question, you can keep it. After I finish working the example, you can ask your question. So we have this as the average cost. We have this as the average cost. So we have finished the question one. Question one, remember, it asks us to calculate revenue function. It asks us to calculate what? Profit function. And it asks us to calculate what? Average cost function. So we have calculated all this now. That was question one. So let's go to question two of the exercise. And question two is asking us to calculate what? So question two is just asking us to, let's say this is what is the AC mean average cost, by the way, average cost of producing four coffee maker. So if we check that, so all what you need to do, this question, what is trying to tell you is to find what? Average cost, which is represented by this. So it is asking us to find average cost of what? Producing 4 coffee maker. So wherever we see X, we replace it by 4. So the question is asking us to calculate this. So to do that, we know that our average cost function it's what? Is 2.23 x plus 3.5 plus 85 over x. So now that we can substitute for our 4 coffee maker, so this will be 2.23 in bracket 4 coffee maker plus 3.5 plus 85 over 4. So obviously this will give us, if we calculate this, it will give us something like 8.92. Of course, this is 3.5. Here, this will give us 21. That is 85 divided by 4, 21.25 will give us 85 divided by 4, it will give us 21.25. So at the end of the day, the average cost of producing, 4 coffee maker will give us 33.67, maybe in dollars or in dollars. So that's it. So that is question 2. But question, there can be another question. There is a possibility that, let's say, question 3 asks us to find what? To find what? Revenue, or to find the profit. This is 4. So whenever you see this, it is telling you substitute 4 into the revenue function or substitute 4 into the profit function. So I'm not going to do this. You can take this as an exercise which I will not mark. So all what you need here is to use the revenue function and substitute 4 into this. And we know that our revenue function is what? Rx equals to minus 0.27 x raised to the power of 2 plus 51x. So what this means, just remove this, put 4 there, remove this put folder, and here also as well. So here also is the same logic, the same concept. So the profit function, we know it is P of X equals to minus 2.5x raised to the power of 2 plus 47.5x minus 85. So when they said P of X, you just said X equals to 4 here. So wherever you see X, you put 4 there, just like the same here as well. So another question that could be asked, which is very interesting, like question 4, very interesting, and we will spend a lot of time here, you know. So for what value for what values of X, that is for what value of coffee maker is production of coffee maker profitable. So what this question is asking you is very simple. So before we go, let's try to understand the question. So it is asking you from what range, you know, from where to where the production of coffee maker is profitable. So if you look at this, it's talking about what? Profitable. Obviously, you know that we are dealing with what? Profit function. And we know our profit function is this, P of X minus 2.5 x raised to the power of 2 plus 47.5x minus 85. So if you look at this, obviously, let's visualize it. X, we have it here. Then price, a profit rather, the profit function, this is profit function, is here. So the question is asking you on this number line here, which runs from positive, is between here. So what obviously we know that we cannot have a negative quantity. So this is out of it. So it's from here up to here. So from 0 up to positive infinity. The question wants to know from which range. Is it from here to here, whereby the production is profitable? So we want to know on this, on the horizontal axis, from where to where the production of coffee is profitable. So to find that, we have to make use of this profit function. So this is what the question is asking, and this is what we will use to solve this. So we have this. We just go on and try to solve this. The key here is what? To remember two conditions. One condition is that production is profitable when profit function is what? Greater than 0. So another condition that you need to know is that production is, we don't make a loss, or we don't make a loss when this condition holds. That is when profit equals to 0. In accounting, normally you call this break-even point. I think it's cost accounting, break-even point. So at break-even point, what happens? Revenue equals to what? Cost. So at break-even point, you know, those who have done economics, marginal revenue obviously will be equals to marginal cost. So some people, you can use this to solve the answer, but the easiest one is this. So we are going to use this condition to solve this question. So first, we have to equate. We said that using this condition, profit is equals to 0. So what we are trying to do here is that we want to find the values of X. And we know that X is what? The coffee maker, number of coffee makers produced. We want to find the value of value of X whereby that will make the profit equals to 0. So we equate this to 0. So when we solve this condition, we have X. That value is where the profit is equals to 0. If we know that, then we will be able to know the range at which the production is profitable. So we know we have, so let's go on. We have our profit function, which is here. This is our profit function. Let's bring it again. So we have our profit function as minus 2.5 times x raised to the power of 2 plus 47.5 x minus 85, then equals to the 0. So this is a quadratic equation now. We have talked about quadratic equation. We have 3 ways of solving it. One way is what? Factorization. Another way is what? Completing the square. And the third one is what? Using the quadratic formula. So whichever method you use, you will have the same answer. So I will quickly use factorization, but before that, I want to get rid of these decimals. I want this x to stand alone. So all what I need to do is to divide everything by every term by negative 2.5, negative 2.5, negative 2.5. Let's be taking notes, please. Let's be taking notes. This video, they can just sometimes, you know, disconnect itself, and to record it is difficult. So we have here also as negative 2.5. So this will cancel, this will cancel. So we will have what here as only x raised to the power of 2. So 47.5 divided by minus 2.5 will give you 19. Will give you 19. So we will have what? 19 minus 19x. So 85 divided by minus 2.5, that will give you plus 34. So all what we did is just to reduce this equation. So we have this new quadratic equation. So we can either factorize this, use completing the square or quadratic formula to know the rules. So at the end of the day, we will have x equals to something. Let's say x1 equals to something and x2 equals to something. So the values that will be here, they are the values that will make the profit 0. If we know this, then it will help us to identify the range where production can be profitable. So let's go on and factorize this. You can use the completing the square or the quadratic formula. At the end of the day, it will give us the same answer. So now that we have this equation, that is x raised to the power of 2 minus 19x plus 34 equals to 0. So to factorize this, we need two variables. When we multiply, we'll have x squared. Obviously, the candidates are what? X times x. So if you do that, then we will have what? X raised to the power of 2, which is this one. So here also the key, here we look for two numbers. When we multiply, we will have 34. So obviously it's what? It's 2 times 17. So 2 times 17 will give you 34. So it should be minus. We can also say 2 times 17 is what? Is 34 or plus 34. Equally minus 2 times minus 17 is 34. So which of these two should we use? We use this one already, but why? So it's not enough to have this. If you look at the linear component of the quadratic equation, it also matters. So what you have here, this, if you add 17 plus 2, it will only give you what? 19 or plus 19. If you add minus 2 to minus 17, it will give you minus 19. So we have the coefficient of the linear component. So which is, this is how you decide which of the factors to choose. So this times this, obviously it will give you 34. But if you add this and this, it will give you what? Minus 19, which is this one. This one is this, and this one. So at the end of the day, this will be our factors. It will be x minus 2 and what? X minus 17. This one is this one. Then equals to 0. So at the end of the day, x minus 2 equals to 0, or x minus 17 equals to 0. Then x will be equals to what? 2, or x equals to 17. So we solve this. So this is where we break even. So when we produce two coffee makers, we will not make a profit, but we will not also make a loss. So x equals to 2 and x equals to 17 is our what? Our break-even point. Break-even quantity of coffee maker. Break-even quantity. So we all know what break-even means, that, you know, the revenue that we have from the sale of the coffee maker is exactly equal to the cost. So meaning that there is no profit is what? Profit equals to 0. So if you want to even confirm this, if you substitute this and this in the profit function, it will give you 0. For example, we know our profit function is what? This is our profit function, P of x, the original profit function, P of x is equals to minus 2.5 x raised to the power of 2. This will soon go off, but I will log in again. We can continue. 47.5. Then we have x minus 85. So if you substitute this, where is it? If you remove this and put 2 there, or 17 there,